To be honest, I still prefer season 4, but that's not to say season 5 is bad. I think season 5 is actually still pretty good. It's just certain decisions I don't completely agree with, but I think a lot of what they were trying to go for still works. Obviously, addressing the elephant in the room, the change to Vecna's design, I think, was a good choice, because before he looked like a weird version of the Grinch. He had the fat belly. It was an okay design, but they clearly went for the more CGI route in this, I guess, like, more evolved final form of Vecna. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about the change to this. It's just, it's hilariously noticeable when you compare it to the last design they had, and it's like, they really just put a man in some Halloween costume and said, "Yep, this is Vecna." You know what I mean? Like, it looks so different. I do like the new design. I really do. But yeah, just looking back at what they first gave out was, it just looks like a dude in a suit. Like, you know what I mean? Our boy Will the Wise. Now, I will admit, all pun intended, this scene made me sit up a little bit more, because I was like, hold up, bro. They gave this new powers. like now it's not just everyone having to rely on 11 to take down Vecna. Because let's be real here. What the fuck is everyone else gonna do against Vecna besides 11? Like, you know what I'm saying? But now we have Will, and of course, 11's sister, which we'll talk about later here. But Will using Vecna's powers finally. It all makes sense on why Mike kept emphasizing and saying that, oh, Will, like, you're a sorcerer. Like, you have more strength and power in you than you think you do. And I was like, why the fuck does he keep trying to, like, push this narrative that Will's a fucking sorcerer? He's literally been, like, a sidekick the whole show. He started off a little lost boy in the Upside Down. You know what I mean? Ever since then, he's kind of been a bitch. I'm not gonna lie, kind of been a bitch the whole show. Now it's like, he's finally doing something. He's finally contributing to the story. He's making an impact. He's not just like, oh shit, I think Vecna's close by. Like, now it's like, yeah, what's up, bro? I got your powers now. What the fuck you gonna do about it? I'm not gonna lie, this was also a crazy ass scene where Will infiltrated Vecna's mind and actually controlled him, was able to talk through him and break this dude's fucking leg. That shit was crazy. I was like, oh yeah, okay, Will's like that for real. He might be stronger than 11. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, this goes to show, like, how important Will's character just became. I mean, you could argue that he was important throughout the show because he was, like, their source of information in a way for the Mind Flayer and also for Vecna. But this really emphasizes, like, how much power Will just unlocked. Like, if he's able to do this, imagine what else he could do. You know what I mean? In combination with 11's powers, in combination with Callie's powers, they could really do some serious damage. Now, what I'm wondering though is, if Vecna dies, what happens to Will? You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Because they're connected, right? They're connected in a way. And I'm wondering, if that connection is severed, what happens? Does Will just lose his powers and that's it? Or does he go into, like, a coma for the rest of his life? Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's, like, something, like, big that would happen if they successfully manage to kill Vecna. Which, the direction the show's going, probably Vecna's gonna die. I mean, if he doesn't, then there would, need to be like a season 6, and it's like, do we really want to wait another 3 years for a season? I don't think so. I really do. Oh God. I really did like the dynamic between Max and Holly. I think the show put a lot of emphasis and screen time into Holly and like everything going on with her, but it still kind of worked. You know, it balanced out a bit. Do I think she has too much screen time? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think she does have a little bit too much compared to the rest of the cast members. Because let's be real here. I think Holly had literally the most screen time out of all the main characters. I think Holly has the most screen time, and she's not technically like the main character. Like she's a main character, but she's not part of the original crew. You know what I mean? Like Max is part of the original. Well, you could say, yeah, Max is part of the original crew, right? But even Max doesn't have as much screen time as Holly. I still like the dynamic between them. I like how they help each other out to, you know, go through memories through Henry's mind and, you know, trying to figure out a way to escape. And, you know, their little, their heart-to-heart moment they had as they were exiting, trying to go back into their bodies. Which, you know, that scene itself was kind of weird, because it's like stopping at the finish line. You know what I mean? Like, you see where you need to go, yet you want to have like a 5-minute discussion talking about boyfriends and believing in yourself. What do we do? What do we do? Yeah, they could have done that slightly different. But regardless, though, I think the dynamic between these two characters still works. Now, something that pissed me off is the constant arguing between these two characters, between Dustin and Steve. Now, mind you, throughout the majority of the show, these two were, you know, pretty much best friends. Up until this point, where now they're just, every scene, they're constantly bickering with each other. And it's like, it gets old quick. You know, obviously they make up towards towards the ending of the latest episode that just came out, and you know they're cool again. But for most of season 5, every scene is just them arguing, and it's like I don't want to hear this throughout the whole show, and that's what we get with these two. And this used to be my favorite duo throughout the show. You know what I mean? I thought they were like the most solid duo compared to everybody else. But that quickly changed with season 5, when now all they're doing is arguing. And some people love it, some people hate it, a lot of people hate it. I'm one of those people that do hate this. Just because, like, I get it, you want to show some type of conflict between them, but it doesn't have to be stretched out over the entire fucking season. You know what I mean? Like, they literally only resolve whatever issues they had going on within, like, the second to last episode. So it's like you have to sit there and watch majority of the season, every scene, with these two just constantly going back and forth arguing with each other. And it's like, it gets annoying. It really does get annoying. But they're still good characters. They're still good. There's still like decent acting between, you know, besides the arguments and stuff like that. They can still do their thing when it comes to, you know, moving the story along. Okay, this is arguably the most important part. The fucking Upside Down no longer just being its own thing, but part of something even bigger. Now we learn that the Upside Down is a giant wormhole connecting two different worlds. You have Hawkins and Dimension X. The Abyss is what they're calling it, right? And this was such a huge reveal that completely just changed, like, everything we thought the Upside Down was. Like, we're thinking the Upside Down already was, you know, some other dimension, like a mirror world to Hawkins, right? That's what we thought the Upside Down was. But it was even bigger than that. It was connecting two worlds together. So yeah, the big reveal of the Upside Down being a wormhole, I think, was interesting. I don't hate it. I don't hate this idea. I don't hate this concept. But I do wish. See, I can't even say that. I was gonna say I wish they gave us like some more hints that that's what this was gonna end up being. But I think that would ruin the surprise, and it wouldn't make like, you know, this. It wouldn't be as big of a reveal if we did get some type of hints beforehand. But yeah, this was definitely a pretty significant change to, you know, just how we view everything. Because I think the Upside Down is, you know, a very key component to the story, and making it somewhat smaller in a way. Because now the attention and focus is going to be placed on the Abyss, right? Dimension X, the connecting world from the Upside Down and Hawkins. All the attention is going to go to Dimension X now. And it's just, we haven't really got enough screen time of what this Dimension X looks like. We got a little bit of it, you know, teaser of what that world looks like. But with only one episode left, I just don't think we're going to get enough screen time with this new area. It's like, you know, we got a new area of the map unlocks, right, basically. And it's like they're only giving us a very limited time to explore that. And I wish we had more time to really dive into it. Now, they might just make the last episode entirely focused on Dimension X, which I think would be a pretty smart move, considering we don't really know much about it besides like that's where Vecna's hiding. So yeah, there's not really much else I could say there until the last episode comes out. Now I can tell you something I do hate. I do hate the fact that they brought this character back. Alright? They could have left whatever monstrosity they thought season 2 episode 6 was, right? I forgot the exact episode, I'm not gonna lie to you. But in season 2, you know, obviously we get introduced to Eleven's sister, and like, you know, they try to go with that little side story, didn't work out, everybody hated it, right? And then, you know, now they bring her back, and, you know, she's trying to make it seem as she's going to help Eleven take down Vecna, and she even tells Eleven, like, you know, I think in order to stop this cycle of kids getting these powers from blood transfusions, like, we need to take ourselves off the board, right? Along with their brother. And it's like the way she worded it made me not trust her. Because it's like, why are you referring to Vecna, aka Henry, right? Why are you referring to him still as your brother? That's what her words were. Their brother. So just off of that line alone, that made me think, okay, she's working with Vecna. Like, until I'm convinced otherwise, she's working with Vecna. I'm calling that shit right now. When push comes to shove and it's crunch time, and they're like towards the final battle, she's going to betray Eleven and everyone else and be like, psych bitch, I was working with Vecna the whole time. Like, I swear, if that doesn't happen, then the only other option that the story has to go for her is, you know, they take her off the map, along with Vecna, right? I think Eleven's going to live. I don't think they're going to kill off 11. But if they're going to kill off any character, it's going to be Coward. And if she ends up being a good guy, or excuse me, a good person, then she is probably going to sacrifice herself to save 11 during the final battle. And, you know, maybe Hopper too, because that was also hinted that Hopper was willing to sacrifice himself for the sake of, you know, 11. So maybe Hopper will go out too. But I don't think the show's bold enough to kill off 11. They put too much focus around her for them to do that. And the Duffer Brothers already mentioned that they don't. It's not Game of Thrones. They're not obligated to kill off any main characters. Which is like, all right. I mean, I guess you got me there, right? But regardless, I don't trust her. I don't trust her at all, and we will see what happens in the last episode. What the hell is in that briefcase? Wouldn't you love to know? I would like to know. Wouldn't you love to know? Honestly, if this doesn't get brought back up, I'm going to be extremely fucking pissed, because it seems like that briefcase is pretty important, right? But we just don't get any information on it whatsoever in episode 7. Yeah, that's what this episode is. So hopefully it gets brought back up in season 8 and it gets to explore that part of the story a little bit more. I have heard on the internet that if you watch the play, then this is, I guess the briefcase itself is explained a bit more. Like it's, I guess something that teleported Henry to Dimension X when he was a kid. I don't know how true that statement is. That's just what I've seen or read on the internet. I don't know if that's completely accurate. I have not seen the play for Stranger Things, so I just do not know. However, if that is the case, then I'm sure they will show that within episode 8. If they don't, and they just make it a plot hole, it's gonna be pretty fucking annoying, because everyone will just be sitting there wondering, like, what the fuck was in that briefcase? You know what I mean? So, all will be revealed in the final episode of Stranger Things. So, we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this video. Thank y'all for watching. And, want to wish y'all a Merry Christmas, even though I didn't get the chance to. I know Christmas just passed, but still, hope you had a happy holidays and, Happy New Year as well. I'll catch y'all when the new episode drops. Peace.